Hey everybody, we're here with another brand new video. It's gonna be
God.
sick. Give that thumbs up button a smash and tickle the subscribe button. All right, bye. That's how you got to do it in
I
2020,
think
unfortunately.
we're gonna clip that, and then that could just be our intro.
That'll be our intro for every video.
I love it. We got Pat Graziosi.
Correct. Very, very good.
It just kind of happened. I didn't even mean to do that.
I know. Yeah, it just happens. It's fine. My last name is that Italian that it brings it out. It's okay.
I love it. Cool. So I found you through Twitter, and then
Yes.
that's how I found about Life Noggin, right?
Yeah.
Can you just explain kind of what you do? And like, you seem to be really interested in a lot of different things. So
Sure. Yeah, that's partially because of my ADHD brain that I can't focus on one single project at a time, which is why I have 1,000. But yeah, Life Noggin is an animated education channel on YouTube. And we make videos ranging from, education on space, biology. Those are our two most popular. Mental health issues we cover. And started that in 2014. And yeah, I've been doing that ever since. It's been my full-time job. I like to say that on the side, I'm an artist because I've never been able to like make a living off of like just making art. So that's been like my passion project since I was a little kid, is just making art for myself. Yeah, so I would consider myself, I guess, like I would consider myself a digital artist because I like photography. I'm very much into just like photo manipulation. So if you had to group it into something, I feel like it would be that, probably.
yeah, that's great. I was curious if you're going to say you were a YouTuber.
I think I stopped calling myself a YouTuber in like 2017, I think. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being a YouTuber at all. I think it's a very lucrative career if you can make it work. And it's I mean, you're able to express yourself to an audience of millions in seemingly overnight, and sometimes actually overnight, with depending on what happens to your video. So I want to preface that with, I'm not embarrassed to be called a YouTuber, but I think like that title is reserved for people that like still live and breathe it, and I don't do that anymore. That's just like I used to when it first came out, because I'm 1,000 years old and I was on it since like 2000, and I started watching in 2006. I started making videos in 2007.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a long time ago.
Right. So you just do the voice for Life Noggin now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing the voice and I'm doing the thumbnails. I created it in 2014 with my business partner, and then yeah, now it's just me being BLocko, me being the animated host, and me making the thumbnails, which is still fun. I enjoy those two things.
Right. That's crazy. You guys are at 3.5 million, right?
Yes, which yeah is wild.
Did you expect that? Like when you started Life Noggin, like specifically,
No.
did you expect that to take off?
No, and I get asked this a bunch with like when we hit like different milestones, and I would get asked this, and like I think I give the same answer every time, which is like, if when we hit 50K, I was like, I could stop. Like I was so good, because at the time when I started uploading, I really looked up to people that were in that range, and then also like also that would hit 1 million subscribers. But there was a I'm gonna date myself here like real bad, but there was this YouTuber named Fred. I don't know if you remember Fred. High pitched.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I never know
Who
exactly.
doesn't know Fred?
there's a good amount of people that need to really like read a freaking book, dude, or watch a video.
Yeah, nowadays.
But he hit 1 million subscribers way back, and he was the first YouTuber to do it, I believe. And that was such a big deal. And so, and that was so big that I'm like, if I even get like a quarter of that, I think I'll be okay. And I'm very blessed and lucky that I was able to get there. But yeah, it doesn't feel real. It still doesn't. And I don't think it ever will, ever.
Yeah, that's a unimaginable number, especially when you like think about the actual people behind that.
Yeah, I can't even count that high. I mean, also that I want to say that the people that are um, the people that work on Life Noggin, it's not just me.
Yep.
It's animators and writers, and we have such an incredible team. And I was never able to. I wasn't going to be able to do it alone. I think it maybe would have lasted if I'm judging off of the projects that I've started in the past. It probably would have lasted maximum a year, and then I would have gotten really bored and done something else. It was only because of my team that like kept it interesting and fresh that I was able to actually stay on it for that long. Um, I'm not really selling myself as a good like producer and content creator. I know I like there's someone that could be way better than me that you could have on that would live and breathe like a Casey Neistat type that's just like loves making vlogs.
I think it's great because like even with us, like you're being realistic, right? Even with us,
Yeah.
we like already hired an animator or editor.
Editor.
Just
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
we just don't
editing
have
each
time.
podcast and I said, no,
Yep.
no.
Mhm.
Time to
Yeah.
find someone.
You know, there's some people that say it's meditative, and I can agree. Like I can see why it would be, but I cannot stand editing. Also, because like you have to listen to your voice like
Yeah.
all the time.
Or like I
Not for
know what
me.
I want and I'm like, I just want to get it done. And you
Mhm.
just have to sit there and be like, nope, not right, and tweak it a little bit.
Yeah. Don't you wish you could just go like for those of you who are just listening to this, I'm putting my fingers to my temple and like trying to psychic command the editing tools. I wish that I could do that. I wish I could just say what I wanted and it would happen. We'll get there eventually.
We will.
Yeah,
Which is strange.
I love that. I guess before we go more into YouTube and all that,
Sure.
I'd like to like know more about your artistic practice because you said growing up you always wanted to be an artist, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I'm like as a kid, did you want to be an artist? Like how was that?
Yeah, I was shaped by my next door neighbor was this interior designer, and she was like a child of like the 70s and was this like really like cool hippie like person, and she got me into art. I mean, both my mom and my dad, they're awesome, and they supported me being an artist, which I'm very thankful for because not a lot of people do that. And but my neighbor showed me like all different types of art, and I remember she showed me Salvador Dali, and she said like, what do you think of this? And I was like, this is so like weird. I was like, this is so weird. And she goes, but do you hate it? And I was like, no, no. I always associated like weird with bad. Like, oh, if I think it's weird, like I probably don't like it. And then I'm like, but she's asking me like, do you hate this? I was like, no, I think this is so cool. I actually think it's cool and it's weird, and you can like make a living off of that. And I didn't know this at the time. Like I didn't know that he was long dead, but I was like, I want to meet him. I want
Oh my
to
God.
meet him and tell him I love his art. And she's like, oh, well, most of the artists that you're ever going to love are dead. But that's where it started. And then I would doodle. I would try to draw as much as I possibly could. And I'm not very good at it. I like to say that like doodling is more of a like meditation for me than anything. It's not a thing that I'm like I can really do and show off. But the I guess the other side to this is that at a block party one year, my mom got me this Nikon Coolpix camera, and it's this really like shitty starter camera, right? And I went to this block party, and there was this DJ that was like flashing all these lights. And I had no idea what I was doing. I messed up something, and I set like a long exposure time on it. I guess I don't even know if that was what happened, but all the colors like were just like moving around this, and it had this like very like a light flow kind of painting, color painting. And I fell in love. I was like, this is what photography could be like. This is incredible. and I didn't pay attention to anything. I was like a kid with a Game Boy that was just shutting the hell up. I was like looking at my camera and just staring at that image like, this is the future, which is so stupid because like it's photography, but I didn't know any better at the time. But that's how I got into it. Yeah, those are the two things that like really set me off. My neighbor exposing me to like surreal art, and my mom buying me that camera for the first time.
Yeah, it's crazy to think how influential people, like when you're first starting, even someone like tangentially related to art, like they get a hold of you and they start talking about art, like that could like make someone's career.
Yeah.
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 I
How
remember.
old were you?
Yeah.
When my neighbor showed me Salvador Dali, I was, I think, 9.
Whoa.
So I was really young. I shouldn't have, some of the stuff that he did, I shouldn't have seen. I
yeah.
saw the one experimental film that he did where he like cuts open like an eyeball. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
And you were 9?
It's like black and white. Yeah, I really should have saw that. And my mom also, again, like she didn't really know about the world of art, and so I was like, I told her I watched a film today, and she goes, oh, what movie did you watch? And I was like, I don't really want to talk about it. I don't know how to communicate this to you. But yeah, I mean, you guys have like influences. You guys have like people that you kind of grew up idolizing or wanted to, emulate in some way. I would love to know who those are for you.
Oh, my
I think growing
grandma.
up. Oh yeah.
My grandma, she was a painter. She never became like famous or anything. She went to art school. She couldn't stay in art school because at the times were just different. She had to stay home, take care of the family. She left art school, but she had all this knowledge. So when I was a little baby, she'd be like, look at these acrylics. Ooh, oil paints. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's fun, colors.
Yeah.
And so she planted the seed in my head. I always think about her. I'm like, oh, you started this. And so that was my person.
Me.
As you stare at the painting in the background, like, you started this. This is your fault.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have basically the same story, except for it was my uncle. He was working at IKEA, and he would like hand draw the signs, and like
that's cool.
It's a cool job. You're definitely not like a full-time artist when you do that.
Sure.
But like the idea that someone could like draw on a sign for a living blew my mind, right? And he would always like bring me like pens and like paper from IKEA, like that he would take, and like that's how I got started, right? And then like him just like drawing on signs showed me like, oh, like you can actually get a job doing this. Like,
I mean,
sometimes 10.
That's all it takes sometimes. I mean, like it sometimes it's not like bringing you to a museum and showing you art. Sometimes it's giving you a crayon, and then but constantly encouraging that. And again, I'm so glad that my parents saw the like potential in it and didn't like pressure me to do those things or that I didn't want to do, aside from sports, but like whatever, like I had to do those as a kid. But once she saw, I think, my photography, which was so bad, the things that I've shown her, but she's a mom and she's going to think that everything that I'm doing is incredible. But once she saw the photography and she knows that, people make money doing weddings and mitzvahs and stuff like that. And that so I could, if I wanted to, I could go into a field that would make money. So she was comfortable with it. But she always said like she's gonna follow me to the red carpet and she's gonna be there when I win an Oscar. And I was like, Ma, I'm not that kind of like person, but I'm so glad that you support me in that way. Yeah, I mean, I really, part of the other influence, or something that like, if we're talking about like where you can pinpoint like what changed you, it was in this art history class in college, and we watched a documentary on Keith Haring, who's my all-time favorite artist, and he was a pop artist in the 80s. If you don't know, if anyone listening doesn't know, and he rose to fame partially by creating this subway art, where he would go down into the New York City subways, and they used to paint over advertisements in black. And then he would get chalk and draw his his designs on them. And his whole thing was that he wanted to bring art to the people, because these working people that were constantly on the move did not have time to go to a museum, did not have time to discuss art, or like even let alone like read a magazine that might have had some art in it. So he decided that he was going to bring it to the people, and his whole thing was accessibility in art and making sure that everybody could do it and everyone could enjoy it. And I took that with me, and I mean, that there are very few things in my life where I could say like that really changed me as a person, but I left that class completely different. I mean, it was such a, what like people would say is a cultural shift, you know, but that was for me, for my life. And everything changed as far as like art went after that.
Right. So you mentioned going to college. Did you go to an art school, or?
I did go to an art school. I went to 3. So I went to, not a brag, I'm about to get into it. Trust me, it's not a brag. I went to a graphic design school. One of my teachers was standing over my shoulder one day, and he goes, Pat, you know, you're going to have to like take criticism. And I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? He goes, well, you know, like I told you to change like a whole bunch of things, and you didn't change them. And I was like, but I don't want to change them, because this is like mine. He's like, yeah, but clients are going to, you know, give you changes. And I was like, all right, if that's the case, then like, I really don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to be a graphic designer. I'm not going to be able to handle this. And I was also like a little shit and couldn't take criticism actually. But so I left after a year. And then I went to film school because for some reason I thought that would be better in terms of criticism. Like there isn't an entire industry based off of critiquing movies. And so I went to film school and went to this, like, it was one of those degree mills. It was the Art Institute of New York City. And they just like hand you a degree. I mean, it's so easy to get in, and they just take your money. Sorry if you guys went to an art institute. I probably should have asked beforehand. But yeah, I really hated every second of it. So I left that, and I left because I was so depressed. Not to get like real, but I was living in this apartment with an incredible roommate. His name was Cecil, and he was a fashion designer. And I sat on my bed, and I was just staring at the window. And I saw that I got to see this the skyline of Manhattan, like the downtown skyline, and outside my window, and I was just looking at it, and I went like, God, this is where I want to be, but like, then this is everything. I love Brooklyn. I was so close to the to Brooklyn Bridge Park, which is my favorite spot in the entire world. And I'm so close to it. I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? I'm making films. I'm meeting people. I'm exactly where I've wanted to be. Why am I not happy? And I posted something on Facebook that was just like, I don't feel right. I don't know why I don't feel good. And my aunt saw that and messaged my mom. And then my mom called me and was very worried that I was going to do something. She was like, if you want to leave, you could leave. Go ahead. And we won't judge you. We won't tell anybody about it. And after that, I packed up my bags and I was gone. And I took a year off and just I went to therapy. I tried to figure out like what was going on. And I think I found that I wasn't doing what I really wanted to do. And nothing else besides YouTube like mattered to me. And I think I was just kind of kidding myself. And, depression is obviously it's a serious topic. It's a serious thing. And I'm glad that I went to therapy and I got to process my feelings. I know a lot of people don't get to do that. It's a long answer to your question. I did go to college.
That was a great answer. No, I was enthralled.
Yeah.
Do you remember how old you were when you realized that you wanted to do YouTube full time?
When I did it, like 2007, when I first started, I wanted to do it. I was so captivated by everybody who was like sharing their authentic self, on screen for the whole world. I mean, it was the Wild West back then. People were making, they turned on their camera and they literally said like anything and it didn't matter. There was no like well, there were some people doing like branded stuff. There were some people that were doing like, they had a specific idea for a show and that was their thing. But for the most part, it was people in their room just like talking about whatever the hell they wanted to talk about. And then they gained an audience that way. And some people broke the mold and they started doing skits. Like Smosh was really popular and they kind of made YouTube. And like them and Philip DeFranco, both of them are still going right now. And yeah, as soon as I saw that, I said to myself, I was like, I have to do this. I have to become a famous YouTuber. Like that's all I wanted. And I jokingly, and I don't really mean this, but I jokingly say that I never really became a famous YouTuber because BLocko, the animated host of the thing, actually became famous, and like I'm not in it. So I'm still working on it. I'm still gonna like eventually get there one day.
Right.
But yeah, I knew from the moment I like turned on I had a flip camera and I begged my mom for a flip camera that had like the little USB that would pop out of it before this thing completely ruined that industry. And I got that the flip camera, and I wish that I saved this because I think it's one of the funniest things ever. But I got my flip camera and I went, "Hey everyone," and I went, "No, what's up everyone?" And I'm like, no, that's not a good intro. Hey guy, and then like I just turned it off and like I saved that clip because I'm like, oh my god, this is so stupid. But
That's
I
how we
was
start
really
the podcast every time.
hey everybody, what's going on? I was ahead of my time, I think.
Yeah. That's awesome though, especially like I probably started watching YouTube when I was like 10, which is like even still too young, I think.
Yeah.
So that was probably like 2009, 2010, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think back then there wasn't even monetization yet. So
it wasn't out or it was like in such early stages, like only a couple of people really had it.
Yeah. So like you knew deep down that you wanted to produce these like real videos like way back then, but you couldn't even monetize it yet, right?
Yeah.
So like that's quite the leap. Like you knew that you wanted to do that and you did it. Like that's commendable.
I think it's because a lot of the people that were doing it, not people weren't even getting brand deals either. Like there's a couple of people that were getting brand deals, but like I didn't care about that. I just wanted an audience. I was like, I'm this like attention seeking 13-year-old and I'm not getting it in high school. So like, where am I going to get it? On the internet, baby. I'm going to go and I'm going to get strangers to love me. And let me tell you, it's not as cracked up as everybody thinks that it is. It's not as good as everyone thinks that it is. Yeah, what a wild time too. Like when you think about it and you're making stuff just because you want to make it, there's no sense of like, and capitalism didn't rear its ugly head yet in it and like take it over. And then like eat the body of YouTube. I mean, it like really like it didn't ruin it yet. And I was thankful that I got to be a part of that like era of YouTube, where it's just people winging it and they're like, I don't care. I'm in my room, shitty camera, shitty lighting, but you don't care because this is so novel and new. It was probably the same thing when photography like first started. People like you took a picture of anything and people were like, yo, that's cool. That's a dog. Wild, right?
You mentioned like how capitalism and like trying to monetize everything can ruin it. And like YouTube nowadays, like you see people making 10-minute and 2-second long videos, like stretching it out to get the ads.
Yep.
How do you like, has YouTube lost its charm to you in some ways because of that?
I think that there are people that are on the platform right now that are making some of the most creative and thought-provoking videos. But with that being said, I think a lot of the formula was definitely found, and it would like the code was cracked as far as YouTube is concerned of what works and what people are willing to watch. And a lot of it is like I mean, I have a problem with the selling to kids and the idea of like, you know, making all your titles and your videos all caps, because you know kids are gonna like that stuff, and the thumbnails are so colorful to like oversaturated, and like the videos are about things that like, you know, that a young kid would search, or a teenager, and it's very like, it seems very predatory. And I think there was a time where YouTube did like crack down on that stuff, and they really like didn't want it to happen. And I think somebody there realized that it was making them too much money. You know, drama channels at one point was the thing that YouTube wanted to like stop, and channels that were really like just there to like be mean to people. I don't think there's anything wrong with like reporting on news that happens in the community, but like channels that were just there to like crap on people just for the hell of it. And I think YouTube was like, no, we don't want this. This is like a bad look for us. But then all of them started like dissing each other. All of them started like making like, they made diss tracks. They made review videos about other people's videos. And it was just, they were just getting millions and millions and millions of views. And I saw that, and I saw YouTube like doing nothing about it. And even putting some of them on the trending page at one point. And I went like, okay, I guess this is obviously not what it used to be. And I'm not going to be one of those people that, you know, pretends that it is, or I'm not even one of those people that goes like, I long for the days where it was that again, because like, then no one would make money. No one would, like the platform like wouldn't be where it is today if people couldn't make money off of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess there's a trade-off, but yeah, I don't think it's what it used to be. But I also, I also think a lot of that has to do with YouTube not necessarily, policing is the wrong word, but policing their content. YouTube does not do a good job of also staying true to the things that they don't like. You know, like one week it's like PewDiePie is awful, you know, and then the next week it's like, actually he's on the front page now, like or you know, he's on the trending tab. Like, you guys need to make up your mind. I mean, Logan Paul was like that whole thing with the forest, you know, like that, all that and then, you know, a couple of months went by and it's like nothing ever happened. Like he didn't do any of that. He started boxing people, and then all of a sudden you got to put him number one on trending like that. I think people stopped caring about that stuff.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, so be it, because again, there's still people that are making really cool shit there. I think I'm more of a TikTok person now, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, I love TikTok.
It's the best. That's where the creativity is. If you want to talk with people innovating on platforms, like that's where it is. Despite how you like might feel about the actual app itself, like the creatives on there are just YouTube lost.
Yeah, that definitely reminds me of early YouTube, where it's like people aren't trying to make catchy videos; they're just like having fun.
Yeah,
and people are loving it.
Yeah, they can't make money off of it really, unless they get brand deals, or like TikTok gives them their like the creator fund money. People just doing it.
I love just these kids in their room doing whatever they want, talking about the most niche things. Like, I watched this TikTok about someone talking about their favorite Broadway thing, but it was like a low level one, but they talked and it was like funny and fun, and they're just in their room and on their phone. And I said, this is awesome. I love TikTok.
That is what early YouTube was. Like, you're making the comparison, but like it is 1-to-1. Like, that's what it was. The lighting, it doesn't matter. The audio, screw it. You know, like whatever. As long as people can understand it, do it. You know, the people that like literally like they get their mic and they like start going like this and like put it in their mouth. You know, like no one cares. No one cares, because that whole like, and this will happen to TikTok. It will happen. It's accelerated now because people know what to do. And there's less of like figuring stuff out. The A/B testing side of things on the internet is over. Like, people know what works. And so that will happen to TikTok. It will consume that entire platform. But like, there are just people who'd say like, all right, I'm gonna like this filter that just comes down and like distorts the entire video. You know, you've seen those ones, right? The little line, blue line comes down. Like, that was just to make like funny face maybe. And then people started painting with their fingers. as the thing came down, right? And I name another platform that gives their creators 1,000 tools to be creative. And while the editing software like kind of sucks, they give you things to be creative with. They let you chroma key out your background. You know, they let you put a funny like face or multiply your body, and something that used to take like weeks to figure out on an editing software. Now, like, it's just like, yeah, just do it. And I think some people, well, I know some people that, you know, say that and they'll be like, well, that's lazy, you know, that's lazy filmmaking or whatever. And it's like, dude, then go get a film camera, or go get a Super 8 and then try to stitch together film yourself. You pompous ass. Just like, don't like, what are you gonna, if you're gonna not buy a toaster, you're gonna put your bread outside.
Make your own toast.
What are you gonna do? Right? You
that.
use the stuff that you have. You use the stuff that somebody gives you, and you make art with it, because that's the only thing that matters, is that you're making art. You know, you're not making your paintbrush yourself. You're going out into the store and you're buying the paintbrush and you're using that to make art. No one's going to say that you're like less of an artist because you couldn't like stretch your own canvas. No, who cares? Like, take the things that you have. If you only have your wall in your bedroom as a canvas, you can't afford anything else, and the only thing you could do is steal expo markers from your school, great. Awesome. Steal the expo markers. The school's not going to miss them, and draw all over your wall if that's the only thing that you could do. Everybody has a phone now, most people. And so if you have access to any of these apps, then use them. The cameras on phones are incredible.
Yeah,
they are better than some of the cameras that I had, like the professional cameras, right? And so long-winded, but like I think it's so cool that there is this generation of filmmakers and artists that are looking at these things, these tools, and not being intimidated by them. They are thinking immediately, like, how can I meme the shit out of this? How can what can I make? Can I, with my fingers, can I like make devil horns? You know, and like, what can I do with this?
Or the smoke. I like the smoke ones.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Someone did a giraffe one where they like stretched their neck and like ate a plant. It's so funny.
Yeah. I think, to go back to what you said, like, younger people now have all these tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, they're not afraid to use it. I think Fewocious, I think you're a great example of that. Just to talk about it, for Christmas, are you cool with me talking about this?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, Fewocious gave me a VR headset, right? So I've been playing around in VR just like all day. Like, it came in today. That's all I've been doing, right? But you've been doing that for like months now. Like, would you agree with that though? I think like you've been really, but like you've been huge in like trying new mediums out and like just exploring.
No, it's important to explore and try new things. And I mean, with TikTok, I love it because you see moments of kids like in class existing that, like, when else would you see that? And it just like pops up.
2007 like, YouTube, like that's it, you know?
And also, I think there's a whole thing on YouTube where it's like everyone else has a really nice camera and really nice lighting. I feel like nervous to come here with like my phone quality, but on TikTok, everyone is just on their phone and it feels more welcoming just to be yourself and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the lower quality of it, the better sometimes. Like, some trash video, like
I love the hilarious memes. The memes that like, I mean, I have an Android phone, but the memes that are like when the quality of the video is like so bad, and then you hear like the text tone in the background, and it's like it's just garbage. Right. And like I think that's funny as hell. And deep fried memes are hilarious. You know, people just get like real like Dadaism with it.
I think those will always be funny to me.
All the time.
So dumb.
The sense of humor that I have right now is so totally screwed up, and where like the only thing that makes me laugh is like a photo of Shrek, but his butt is replaced with two hams. Like, that's literally all I can laugh at now, and I hate it. I hate it.
I love it.
No, I'm so, God, I'm so thankful for like all of these people that are just paving the way with this new technology. And Fewocious is doing something like very similar to that, where you're putting on this VR headset and you said, I can't go to Manhattan. I can't go. I because of COVID, and maybe I can't afford a ticket to Manhattan. I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay, what can I do? What do I have?
Yeah.
What do I have? I have a VR headset or Google Maps. Okay, let me see the most important like parts of New York City, and let me merge them all into one thing. And you don't have to. I think the beauty of it all is that you no longer have to sleep on your good ideas. You no longer have to just keep them in the back burner, and then like you wake up and you're 40 and you're like, I wish I would have done something. Like you don't have to do that anymore. So you get an idea and you can execute that entire idea in a day if you really wanted to. And you can do it with very little money. I know a VR headset could cost money, but if you have access to the internet, if you can go to your local library, get on Google Maps, and you can do you can do what you were doing, right? The potential to make it accessible is there, which I think is important when you're doing any type of art, is letting people know the secret, not keeping it to yourself, because I firmly against that. And yeah, showing people the process and encouraging people to do it.
Right. Yeah, even our first guest, Grade Solomon, he's a photographer. Mm-hmm. And I think he does a lot of DSLR stuff, but he was talking like he got the new iPhone, and like he's been posting a lot of just iPhone photos, and like everyone has a phone, so it's like accessibility to all these tools is so open now.
Yeah,
really inspiring.
There's an app by Google. It's called Snapseed. Visco is another popular one, but like Snapseed, it has, I think, well, just like works better. But the editing softwares on phones are getting way better. I mean, like the AI that they're putting into the cameras are getting way better, and so people are feeling more confident about taking photos. I think it's 2014. I put away my Canon T4i that I got, and I was using it for video and for photo. And I said, I'm never using this. I'm never using this unless I'm filming something where I really have to. But like, I'm not using this for photography anymore. And I just used my phone. I got the Samsung Galaxy when it came out. And then I switched to the Android Pixel phones, and I never looked back. And this like photography kind of like movement that was happening, I was editing everything in my phone and taking a bunch of photos, and I never told anybody. I was trying to like make it like a secret at first. And then finally I went like, no, I could brand this, I'm like, I'm a photographer, which is like, I invented it. It was so stupid. But yeah, it all goes to say like the mantra that I live by is use what you have. And I will go with that until the day that I die. It shapes every single thing that I do, every single piece of art, every conversation that I have, every project that I'm a part of.
Right. There's a quote, I think it was on your website. I won't directly quote it, but you mentioned like you can find inspiration from anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's a huge thing in my practice too. I just called it my practice. I'm a fine art loser.
Mwah.
I agree though. Like I'll draw like a street sign, and then and people will like see it in a different way they never thought of, and they've seen thousands of them, right? So yeah, I love that idea of just using what you have, and there's infinite possibilities, right?
Yeah, there's the quote. It's Keith Haring. Keith Haring's quote is, "Art is for everyone," and he inspires everything that I do. So I kind of stole his thing and then I twisted it, and it was art is everywhere. And so like using the things around you as inspiration, even things that you wouldn't think to consider inspiration. And you mentioned the street sign, right? You could pass a street sign a million times and never think anything of it, but somebody had to design that thing. Somebody had to make sure that like it conveyed a message, which is this road is super windy and you should probably yield, or, you know, warning, there's a deer, right? And so they had to figure out what the design is going to be of that. But if you look at everything as a potential added stitch to anything else that it is that you're doing, then you're able to see art in places that you never like would normally think of. So I have this series called What It's Made Of, WeMo, and I will take photos of signs, different signage around town, you know, wet floor sign where the guy is like kind of slipping on the floor. I'll take a photo of like the doggy bags that people used to pick up poop. I will like take a photo of the little like, guy walking his dog. And then I bring it into Photoshop, or you can bring it into any like free software. And I move the pieces around and make like kind of a collage with the different signage. And it literally makes me more focused. It makes me appreciate like everything around me and how it's laid out. I highly recommend, if you're ever gonna like this is an artist, Austin Kleon. He's an artist and an author.
I love his books so much. Oh my God.
They're so good. I have all of them.
I have all of them too. And like his little practices, I always do them. I'm like, oh, I gotta stop. And I go do like whatever he says to do.
Yes, they're so good. And he has his Steal Like an Artist book. It was very,
that book like changed my life. I read it and I said, oh, and I love when he shows like a bubble map of people and ideas. I forgot who he put as examples, but seeing that and seeing how one person can influence you and how you could influence someone else and not even realize, I was like, whoa, because I don't remember. I read that book when I was like 12 or something. And reading that was very important, like to me in my life.
Yeah. And that is, it's so true when you stop and think about, like, if you, not a lot of people actually think back to like who their inspiration is, where did they come from? Like, how did they get to like the creative that they are right now? But you have this ability to like steal from all these people. You have this ability to take and form your own vision for things, and that's just like it's a beautiful thing. You have this plethora of creatives that they're all dead. And this is what he talks about in this book. They're all dead. They're not gonna sue you. You know, they're not gonna be mad at you. You know, if then maybe their lawyers might come after you or whatever if they're still alive. But like, whatever, I'm going to steal from Keith Haring because he was my inspiration, and I'm not going to make money off of his work, but I sure as shit am going to like live by the ideals that he lived by and morph my art to fit his mantra of artists for everyone. And then I'll become my own artist at the end of it. When it's all said and done, I'll become the amalgamation of every single artist that I've ever liked.
Yeah, it definitely takes time too. I feel like people my age expect to find their style and their vision right away. And I feel like they just stick to the first thing they find, and then it ends up being really limiting, or they end up hating it, right? So yeah, I always like when people ask me for advice, I always just tell them to like try everything. Like everything you can think of, just try it, see what you like, and like don't stick on one thing right away. I don't know. That seemed to help me at least.
Do y'all think that you found
stay in their style? They'll be like, oh, I'm not doing that. It's not my style. But they want to do it. And it's like, well, if you want to do it, then do it. Right. Like, don't stop yourself from trying this whole new project or thing because it's not your style. Like, I don't know. I think that's silly.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to grow as an artist if you don't do that, right? I was going to ask you, do you guys think that you found your quote unquote style? Like, do you think you found like what that is?
I go through this dilemma where it's like the yellow paper drawings, like the danger bird, like you remember that drawing? I feel like that, like people know me for that style, the loose pen drawings, right? And I'll do them for a couple months and they're great and I'm having a good time with them. But like I start to think like, oh, is this all I'm gonna do? Like just yellow paper drawings with like cheap dollar store pens? Like I want to try more stuff. And then if I get that feeling, I'll like try more or a different style or whatever. But like, yeah, it's really hard for me. I feel like specifically me, that sounds so like like I'm the main character, but I've like had such an issue with finding my style. I'm interested by everything. Always switch it up. There's always a different medium that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's good. I feel like that's a big reason why I've gotten this far at my age. But like, I think there's a lot of pressure to find your style immediately, right? Because if you have a distinct style, you can constantly post that. People expect that. And then that's a good way to grow an audience, right?
Sure.
So you really have to balance that.
Then I was going to say, you have to balance it, or else you're stuck like drawing like Disney characters for the rest of your life. And if I mean, if that's what you want to do, like, awesome, go for it. There's no judgment, but at the same time, like, if you were so like ultimately limiting yourself and kind of painting yourself into a box, sometimes
you're forced to draw Disney people, then
right. And you post, you post one thing that's like your original character, and people like grab you by the neck and they're like, where's Elsa, you piece of shit? You know, like you didn't post Anna and Olaf.
I love that. What about you, Fewocious?
I mean, I don't know. Style is just my brain. Like I don't draw something and go, I'm gonna make this style. It's like, this is how I feel. I like how this looks. I want to elaborate more on this certain thing. I'm gonna keep going. I mean, isn't that what like everything is? Like, it just, I feel, I don't know. I don't like to say that certain things are my style. I know I have things I do a lot, like the blue characters or like eyes a certain way, but I just like how it looks and I want to do that. When I don't like it, then I stop and I do something else. But I would I can't do that. It's part of my style.
You have your certain like little quirks or like motifs that you touch on, and you kind of can always go back to that. But ultimately, your style is shaped by however you're feeling that week, that month. It should change, because that really means that you're absorbing everything. You're absorbing more. You're learning. You're growing. You're taking in everything, and no piece should ever be like the last one.
Right.
Unless you're doing pop art, you're really trying to do that. But like, other than that, no.
Yeah, you're constantly changing. Why wouldn't your work constantly change with you, right? So I think that was really well put. If you don't, you're great. It's nice talking to a professional talker. It's awesome.
I know,
I love it.
So good at talking. I'm like, dang. I'm like admiring you as you speak. I'm like, dang, I want to be good. And
guys, you can't boost my ego up anymore, or my head is gonna literally explode. And I do really appreciate that, and it's really nice because I have been known as a talker for my entire life, and you get good at talking if you don't stop. So I'm glad that it's finally like turning to my benefit and not like pissing off my mom or something.
Right. Yeah, I was never known as the talker, so this is definitely like kind of out of my comfort zone for sure, but it's been great learning how to.
Fantastic job.
I appreciate that.
Talking is so fun. Also, I'm nosy, so I'm like, what are you thinking about? I want to know.
I'll gladly be that person.
I love it. To go back, you mentioned like accessibility and whatever you find you can take inspiration from. I think that's really apparent because like you do YouTube, you do the photography, and then I found create some art or create some.art. You did that as well, right?
Yeah. So me and my friend Matt Halverson, I'm gonna credit him. Great guy. He and I created this website where you can go to it and it'll give you just a random drawing prompt. It's very basic. I mean, you go to it and it gives you an idea. If you don't like it, you press the button, it gives you a new one. Very, very, very basic stuff. But all of the ideas are stuff that you could do with very, very minimal supplies, a pen and a paper for most of them, or just stuff that you could find around the house. And I made that as a little like passion project because there was this need for me to kind of gather all of my ideas into one place, but also to try to encourage people to not be afraid of drawing. There is this project that I have called Undo Circle, and it's all about drawing and having fun drawing and not actually caring about the result. So you play drawing games, you get together with your friends, and like it's Pictionary. It's drawing cartoon characters from memory. It's just like exercises that like jog your creative muscle or work out your creative muscles. And all of that kind of went into createsome.art, which is it is just trying to encourage people to not be afraid to make something, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not an artist, like I'm not creative, I don't think I can do that, I am just an accountant. It's like, okay, fine, but like that doesn't mean anything. That means you're an accountant by trade, but like with your profession, but you can also doodle. And if you want to have like just an hour of fun, go ahead and go to the craft store and find a thing like a box set of art that's meant for a 13-year-old like girl, get that, open it up, paint your nails, go find dinosaur stamps and stamp all over the paper, go freaking tear up a magazine and stitch it back together. Go and do something that just deflects your creative muscles for a little bit, so you convince yourself that you're still there, that your creative brain can still do it. You still got it. Just do that every once in a while. And that's the reason behind that site. I'm really proud of it for how basic it is, and I want to make more. I have a couple of more ideas for like some one-off sites. But yeah, it's been really fun so far, and the response has been pretty great from it.
It's so cool. We're looking at it yesterday, and I wrote it down. And I said, I'm going to use this. Like, this is really cool. Yeah. I love it.
I'm so glad. Even if like you get some inspiration out of it, just a tiny bit, it's definitely worth it.
The simplicity of it too. It's so cool. Like you literally just press the button and it looks pretty too. Some websites look like scary and you're like, is this a virus? What is this?
Yeah.
But it was so pretty, and I don't know, I just love that you made that. How did you think to even make that? Or
well, I just had the idea, and my friend Matt was the one who coded the thing and worked on it. And I called him up. I called him up one day with the idea just because I thought it'd be cool. I love generators, art generators, or like idea generators. You want to like pick a Halloween costume and it'll give you like a random thing, or a D&D character name or something like that, right? I love those generator. Things. Yes, yeah. It's how Childish Gambino happened, or no, it was it Wu-Tang name generator or something, or he Mafia name generator or something, whatever it was that he got his name from. But yeah, generators are great. And so I wanted to make one. I knew I wanted to make one, and I called my friend Matt and I went like, "You code, right?" And he's like, I just do like apps and stuff. Like, right? I'm not a web developer. And I was like, can you be for like this like 1 week? And he literally like looked up all of the stuff on how to do it and did it, which is something that I could have done. But I was like, nah, I have the idea. Could you just like maybe like do this? And we worked on it together. We collaborated on it. And I didn't want to do it myself either. Like I want it to be a collaborative project anyway. Yeah, again, I have a lot more ideas that I want to start, and I want to do for generator ideas, and for just it could be a book, it could be a video series, it could be whatever. I again, everything just falls under the use what you have mantra. And recently, I guess, I don't know how long, you want to go for it. I don't mean to talk your ears off. But I recently, I have found myself in like a little bit of a funk because I'm still working on stuff and I love what I do, but I realized it's actually something that I was inspired by from you two, and I was waiting. I wanted to surprise you. I found myself in a funk, and I looked to your pages, and I saw that there were two people that were unapologetically themselves when it came to making art and putting themselves out there and making a living off of it, like really truly like thriving off of the stuff that they make. And I've always, considered myself a content creator or whatever. Like I've considered myself that, and I very, very rarely like wanted to call myself an artist. And then I saw you guys and what you were doing, and it inspired me. And so I I sat for about like till like 3 a.m. one night, and I started like putting together more of my website and uploading more things, and just being more open to calling myself an artist and seeing if I can really do this thing, if I could really make a living off of this stuff. And I'm not quite like where I want to be, and I think that that will come in with time. But yeah, I wanted to say thank you to you guys for really inspiring me and like kind of showing me that it's definitely possible. You don't have to be a pretentious ass to make this thing work.
I love that.
No,
That's awesome.
as long as you open yourself up to it, that's like the biggest step, like you have to show yourself and allow that, like, not to sound like, oh, like the universe, but like to like open yourself up to that is so important, and it shows people and they can see. And I love that you did that. I don't know. I just feel like when you talk, when I was little and I started posting my art, I was too nervous because I said, why would I do that? And I'm not a super fancy artist. And all the artists I was seeing online were older than me and doing all this fancy stuff. And anyway, I posted my art and I kept going. And it doesn't matter like who you are or any of that. It's just you love art. You are an artist. You're doing it. You're making it. That's what matters. It doesn't matter like, oh, like pretentious. It's just you're doing it. And you did that first step of like opening yourself up to that, Yeah. And I love that.
I guess it's like being vulnerable is like the first part of it, right? Is allowing yourself to just fully be you and express yourself with that art.
For sure. And now that I've been doing it for so long, like I don't think about it. Like when I draw something, it's a reflection of me. So I'm being vulnerable. I'm like showing people, like 20,000 people, what I'm thinking, what I'm interested in. Like, I remember when I first started posting, I don't know, maybe probably like 2013 on Instagram, I would post something and like instantly like get terrified that like 200 people from my like high school or whatever are going to see this. And it's like, oh, what do they think? Like, this isn't that good. Like, I'm so scared. Right. But now, like, those are all mental barriers, right? Obviously, you just got to get better. But now I just think like, oh, more art, the better. Like, it doesn't have to be the best art. Like, at least you put something in a positive direction out there,
Yeah, I mean, something is I definitely get that for sure. And a lot of, I mean, I relate to that in terms of video because I've made thousands and thousands of videos. I've had every type of channel, vlog, education. I tried to do skits at one point. I've tried a lot of stuff, and almost all of the videos were bad, like comparative to like what is happening on YouTube now, or what was even happening at YouTube on YouTube at the time. And I'm so glad that I saved them. I'm not gonna like unprivate them, but I'm so glad that I saved them because I really do like looking back. And I guess I never really applied that to just putting the actual like digital art that I was making out there. I was kind of like, I don't know, people have this idea of me and what I do. And I guess the idea of kind of rebranding yourself and as and being unapologetically an artist, just saying like that's what I am. I mean, Fewocious, like your bio is it's just I'm an artist. That's
Yeah.
it. Like that's it. Doesn't matter. You're not even you didn't even describe like what kind of artist. Just like I don't care. Here you
Yeah, I make
go.
art.
Yeah, figure it out yourself, dude. I don't know. And yeah, I love that. And so I'm getting more and more into that, and I think that's kind of like the next like phase of my life is kind of taking that seriously, like to a certain extent, taking it seriously in the sense that I'm really gonna like practice in it and take seriously posting and showing people that stuff, but also still having a good time. Otherwise, like I don't know, I'm not. There's no reason to do it
for sure.
Yeah,
I love that. That was great. I'm like, that makes me really happy that like you saw us and felt that way.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, oh my god, for real?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, it was really nice. I don't know how the hell I found you all, but I'm like so happy that I did.
I love that. Cause like to us, like we were coming up with guests, we were like making this big list of people, right? Found your account and then found Life Noggin and like saw that you built that up and we're just starting on YouTube, right? So it's like the same thing for us. Like you just kind of have to start somewhere. You just got to start, right? So seeing what you've done with Life Noggin and your whole YouTube career in general, right? And like create some art, like everything you've done, like yeah, it's definitely been very inspiring for us too as well.
Stop complimenting me right now. I have
it's too easy.
I'm trying to. I was on your website looking at your like the posts that you did, and I said, "Oh, I want to see more." And then you took. Oh, shoot me!
I got 2 now.
I will shoot you first, okay? We're in those cowboy duels. No, but because you're doing so many projects and so many things, it's like, oh, what the heck are you gonna do with art? Because, I mean, you made this website. What the heck? So, to see how that applies to art, it's just like, ooh,
yeah,
what's that gonna be?
I'm excited for the future,
to see how that goes.
Yeah, I am. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I definitely know I'm gonna enjoy it at least.
Right. Do you have any I guess to bring it back to YouTube real quick, do you have any plans for Life Noggin? Like anything exciting with that?
Well, we have a couple of like videos planned, you know, different like, variety of subjects, and Life Noggin is kind of like this well-oiled machine that like it's been going for so long. You know, you come up with a video idea, you start the script process, and then you think of how you can make it like really appealing to a certain group of people, and you figure out how you can make it look really pretty. And yeah, so as far as like new projects with that, I don't have anything like new as far as Life Noggin goes. But I know that there is this potential, because we've been collabing with a bunch of different YouTubers and collabing with people that you wouldn't necessarily think like an education channel would collab with. And that has been turning out to be this like really an incredible project, and the people that we're getting on the channel have been so receptive to everything, and it's just kind of proving the idea that everybody loves learning. They might not know it yet, or they might not have ever been taught in a way that they actually like. And I hope that Life Noggin, because it's always been just a building block for other things, we like to think like it's this spark that will lead you to learn about other things. Like we're not going to teach you every single thing about a 3D printer, but we've made a 3D printer video, and maybe that's the thing, maybe that's the thing that sparks this like passion project, or just this like deep Wikipedia dive at least, right? And it speaks to this collab run that we've kind of been on, speaks to the idea that you don't have to just partner up with education brands or education creators. You don't, if you're a beauty guru, you don't have to just partner up with other beauty gurus. Expand the horizon to other people. So, because YouTube is just going to serve you. Their algorithm is great. I mean, it's so precise now. And but like they're just going to serve you more beauty videos because you watch beauty videos and they think that's what you're going to be into. And then you start breaking away from that just a little bit. And YouTube's like, okay, I think you like this now. Like I went on this long stretch of watching Pokemon videos, like competitive Pokemon videos, and then YouTube was like, all right, cool, we got it. Just show them a bunch of competitive. And then I started watching like a few like cooking videos, like a binging with Babish, and they're like, okay, cool, okay, he likes binging with Babish. And then I watch a bunch of like reaction videos, and they're like, can you just like stop for like 1 week, please? So I think that I encourage like any creator, any artist. This is, I mean, advice for anybody. Work with people that you wouldn't normally expect, or work with people that other people wouldn't expect you to work with. Pick people that are kind of unconventional to the field that you're in, and it challenges you as an artist. Like, how are we gonna make a video that like kind of pairs well with this creator and still make our audience like it? Like that's the challenge there. Yeah, so that's like, as far as the projects go with Life Noggin, that's the thing that we're kind of like writing. There's nothing like huge that we're working on right now, or it's not even like I gotta keep it a secret. I don't want to reveal anything. It's like, no, that's the only thing that we're doing right now.
Right. Can you real quick talk about some of the collaborations you've done?
Sure. Yeah. So with Life Noggin, we've worked with Mr. Beast. We've worked with the Amazing, who's an animator. We've worked with, oh my God, let's see. There's a whole bunch. We worked with Jaden Animations, who's another animation YouTuber. And then we've worked with Katie Morton, who is a licensed therapist and a YouTuber as well. And yeah, we've kind of been to different, kind of all over the place, really. We worked with this one creator, Tierzu, who ranks or like gamifies the animal kingdom.
I've seen those videos. Those videos are so cool.
They're dope as hell. I highly recommend Tierzu. And yeah, so he'll make videos like, are birds OP? Like, did humans like break the game? And so he makes stuff like that. And we did a collaboration with him. And the video that we did was, are humans trash? And like, our bodies kind of like suck. Like they're not built very well. I mean, they're like it's an insane machine, and our brain's a supercomputer, but like our spines aren't really good. And so we did a video like that. It's about finding those people and just figuring out how you can make those things work. Those are some of the collabs that we've done, and we've worked with a bunch of other people as well. Not limiting ourselves to who we can work with. That's key.
For sure. And like, even with this podcast, like we had an idea of like traditional painters to have on, right? Mm-hmm. But then after a while, we were like, yeah, painters are great. We love them. There's so many different type of creative people that we could talk to.
Yeah.
So like talking to you, like we have a couple other guys, like we had Tommy Wilson on. He's the MLB catcher.
He plays for the Mets. And we're talking to him, and we're
what?
And we're talking to him, and it's just so, when you think of a baseball player, you don't think of like someone who like makes art and dedicates this whole aspect of their life to art. So he was like, yeah, I have practice, and he talks about his team, and then he's like, but I went home and I learned about 3D art. And it's like, what?
That is truly incredible.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And I want to see some weird people on here. Like your podcast is art. That is very vague. You can go lots of places with that. So yeah, I want to see people. I want people to watch this and go like, oh, that was like the tamest one that they did.
We're trying, but
we got some ideas.
When the more you talk to people, and work, especially working with someone, you learn so much, even in ways that you don't expect. It's like, what the heck? I don't know.
Yeah, you have to gain that knowledge somewhere. So working with other people is like the best way to do it.
For sure, yeah. And I think to tie it back in a nice loop, we talked at the beginning, like, I think it was your neighbor, interior designer, right? Like, everyone like has something to offer, right? There's always like Tommy's a great example. Like, I'm not into baseball, but like he's like a really interesting artist. So like not limiting who we can talk to and get inspired by, like, to bring it back twice now, like street signs, right? Like, don't limit who you like get inspired by or like what you get inspired by. Like, there's like infinite possibilities.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I try to make that beautiful, and
I thought you were no. Okay, this is where I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were like, well, your neighbor inspired you, so do you have advice to inspire others?
Hey, we'll just cut that out. No one had to hear that. You have any
I was
advice
waiting
for
for
others?
JW.
No, leave it in. We want authenticity, baby.
For sure, no editing.
If you want me to, I can answer that question. Or I can. I can do that.
Maybe to narrow it down a bit more, like any advice for like a young creator, not specifically on YouTube, just some like on the internet in general, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say use what you have, because and I'm gonna beat that dead horse. But don't be intimidated by or wanting to create something, or don't be intimidated by creating something. Making art is like the best way to express yourself, and that could be with anything. And I would say to a young creator, whether you want to do YouTube or any other type of digital art or painting, you want to get into sculpting, whatever it is that you want to do, the hardest thing is actually starting your work, and looking at a blank canvas is absolutely terrifying. And what really helps me, and what I still do to this day, I started doing this when I was a teenager, and I still do this now. Anytime you have a blank canvas, if you have a marker, or if that's what you're using, whatever like medium that you're in, whatever you're actually using to make that thing, grab the marker, just make a line on the paper, do a random shape, make a dot in the center of it. If you're sculpting, just start that like weird shape, throw something down on it. If you're painting, like get the brush and like flick some paint on it. Get that canvas covered. Just get something on there, because the second that happens, it starts being way less intimidating. You start actually putting the pieces together in the same way when you're putting a puzzle together, and you start actually seeing the thing happen. You look at the box and you're like, okay, well, I know what it's supposed to look like, but like there's nothing on the table right now. Everything's all jumbled up. You just get one piece and you start connecting, and then all of a sudden the thing is there, and you're like, yes, okay, I made something. And maybe it's not good, and chances are when you're first starting out, I'm just telling you right now, it is going to be bad. It is going to be bad, and that's fine. And you're allowed to think that it's good. I think a lot of people say that your first work is always going to be bad, and yeah, it is, because when you compare it to future you and the stuff that you're making, if you're really growing as an artist, you should think the stuff that you made was not very good, because you learned more, right? Like in the technical terms, what you made did not meet like the actual like qualifications to be good, right? Like you perfected your craft over time, is what I'm trying to say. And but you're allowed to think that work was good, because you need that confidence. But you can also think it's bad. It's totally fine. But anyway, get something on the paper, on the canvas, on whatever blank slate that you have, because it stops being a scary monster, and then it starts becoming like something with possibility. At least you have something to work from. That's it.
That's beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, yeah, hour 20, I think. We should probably our longest episode so far.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a beefy one.
That was really interesting though. I'm so grateful that you came on.
So much. I'm so grateful.
This was really fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you for saying yes. I was worried. So we've asked so many people and they said no. so
I was afraid you guys were. I thought you were gonna say no. I'm like crafting this like perfect like DM. I'm like, what would they think is cool to say?
That's so funny.
Pat, you literally could have just said,
"Can
I be on the podcast?" And we would have been like, yes.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, listen. I'd love to be back on and like 10 more guests. You want to like space it out? Totally fine. Love to be back on. Would love to talk with you guys again.
Yeah, I'd love that, of course.
Or even if it's not the podcast, you guys want to talk? Cool. Yeah. Call me.
Awesome. We'll pick your brain on YouTube.
Please. Be more than happy to.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I appreciate this. I'm always bad at ending these. So we're just gonna end it here.
All right, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click like, and blah blah blah. Peace out, guys. And then you gotta like cover the camera with your hand a little. Like that's literally all it is. There you go. Now it's done. Now it's done. And scene.
Awesome.